I am 85 years old, and I am a resident of Rawalpindi in the beautiful land of Pakistan, the country of Isha, where the mountains whisper ancient tales and the rivers carry the sorrows of generations. My dear friends, today I sit here in my old courtyard under the shade of this ancient peepal tree that has seen more years than I have, and I want to share with you a true story, a real incident that happened not far from here. It will touch your heart, perhaps even bring tears to your eyes, as it has to mine every time I think of it. This is no fable or hearsay. It's the raw truth of life, of human error, and the unbreakable bonds of blood and love. Pull up a chair, listen closely, for this tale unfolds like a slow river, carrying pain and hope in its currents. It all began on a chilly day, February 3rd, 2023, in a small village called Chokandi, not too distant from my own Rawalpindi. There lived a man named Shahid Hussain, a simple soul from a poor family, the Pakivas clan, where folks work the earth with their bare hands and dream small dreams. His wife, bless her, was heavy with their first child, and when the labor pains struck like thunder, Shahid had no choice but to rush her to the nearest government hospital in the city. You see, private clinics with their shiny lights and soft beds were beyond his means. He could barely afford the rickshaw fare. So, into that bustling, understaffed ward they went, where the air smelled of antiseptic and worry. The doctors, after checking her, said an operation was needed. A cesarean, they called it. Shahid paced the corridors, his heart pounding like a drum, praying to Allah for a safe delivery. And praise be to Him, a beautiful daughter was born, with skin as dark as the fertile soil of their fields, just like her parents. Now, on that very same day, in another village not far off, Multan Khurd, lived Shabbir Hussain from the Awan family, known for their wheatish, fair complexions that glow under the Punjab sun. His wife too was in labor, and fate had it that she ended up in the same gynecology department of the city hospital. The surgeries happened almost side by side, like two ships passing in the night. Shabbir's wife gave birth to a sturdy son, fair and bright-eyed, a little prince in the making. But oh, what negligence befell them! The hospital staff, those entrusted with the most precious of lives, mixed up the babies in their haste or carelessness. They handed Shahid's dark-skinned daughter to Shabbir and his family, and Shabbir's fair son to Shahid. The files, mind you, were prepared correctly, the genders noted, the details scribbled neat as could be. But in the chaos of cries and congratulations, no one double-checked. The families, illiterate and trusting, had no reason to question the bundles wrapped in hospital cloths. They saw the tiny faces, felt the warmth, and assumed all was right with the world. With hearts full of joy, they carried those children home, strangers' blood in their arms, unaware of the storm brewing. Time, that relentless traveler, marched on. Days turned to weeks, weeks to months, and before you knew it, nearly 20 months had slipped by like sand through fingers. In Chokandi, Shahid and his wife doted on the boy they thought was theirs. They named him, fed him from their meager table, watched him take his first wobbly steps on the dirt floor of their hut. The child grew strong, but whispers began. Why was he so fair, so unlike the family's deep hues? Neighbors clucked their tongues, relatives raised eyebrows, but Shahid brushed it off as Allah's will. Children come as they are, he'd say, hugging the boy tighter. In Multan Khurd, Shabbir's household buzzed with similar confusion. Their daughter was darker than anyone in the Awan line, her features a puzzle that didn't fit. Gossip spread like wildfire in the village bazaars. "Look at that child. Doesn't match the family at all." People pointed, murmured, and soon the weight of those words pressed heavy on Shabbir's soul. Tired of the endless talk, the doubts gnawing at him like termites, he decided to seek the truth. He remembered Shahid from the hospital days. They had shared anxious glances in the waiting room, exchanged nods of solidarity. A bond had formed, fragile but real, between two fathers-to-be. So Shabbir reached out, and together they pieced together the dates, the times, the shared ward. When Shabbir's family traveled to Chowkhandi to see Shahid's child, the truth hit them like a bolt from the blue. As soon as they laid eyes on the boy, they knew. He was the spitting image of Shabbir's two elder brothers, fair and familiar in every line of his face. And Shahid's daughter? She was a mirror of Shahid himself, dark and dear, with the same gentle eyes that spoke of their shared blood. Ah, my friends, this is where the story turns from mystery to heartbreak, a wound that cuts deep into the soul. Imagine it, these two innocent children, barely toddlers, had spent almost 2 years in homes that weren't their own. They had laughed in laps that weren't their mothers', slept in arms that weren't their fathers'. The emotional ties were woven tight, natural as breathing. To tear them apart now, it was a torment no words can fully capture. The mothers, oh, those poor mothers. They had nursed these babies at their breasts, whispered lullabies through sleepless nights, felt every fever and joy as their own. To learn suddenly that the child they had poured their love into was not of their womb, it shattered them. Tears flowed like rivers in flood. The air filled with sobs that echoed through the villages. The children, sensing the upheaval, clung to the only families they knew, their tiny hands gripping with confusion and fear. Psychological pressure built like a storm cloud. How do you explain to a babe that home is elsewhere? How do you sever bonds forged in innocence? In the midst of this agony, a kind soul stepped in. Malik Ahmed Khan, a white-clad driver from Chowkhandi, a man of wisdom and compassion. He became the bridge between the families, mediating with gentle words, helping them navigate the pain. Last week, under his guidance, the handover happened. The children were exchanged, returned to their rightful bloodlines. But what a scene it must have been! Wailing mothers, stoic fathers hiding their tremors, villagers watching with bowed heads. Those two little flowers, blooming in the wrong gardens for so long, were uprooted and replanted, all under the heavy weight of fate's cruel twist. Only Allah knows how long this shadow will linger over them. The families may heal in time, but the scars, they run deep. I pray from the depths of my old heart that the Almighty grants both mothers the strength to embrace their true children, to mend the broken pieces. And for those innocents, may He soothe their young spirits, help them forget the confusion and find peace in their real homes. If you're a parent, close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your own child, the one you've raised with every beat of your heart, suddenly revealed as another's. Doesn't it send a shiver down your spine? Doesn't it make your eyes well up? Shahid and Shabir are fortunate in a way. They got their own back before more years passed. But God forbid, if such a mix-up had gone undiscovered longer, what endless suffering. These are not animals in a herd, sheep or goats that can be swapped without a thought. These are human lives, fragile and sacred. I demand, with all the fire left in these old bones, that the authorities investigate. Pull out the duty roster from February 3rd, 2023. Question the staff on shift that day. Hold the negligent accountable. Let disciplinary action fall like justice's hammer. The birth rate in that hospital isn't overwhelming. Only 2 children born, and they couldn't keep them straight? It's incompetence, pure and simple, a betrayal of trust. And to all parents out there, I plead, be vigilant. When you step into those hospital doors, check the documents, ask questions, confirm everything. Don't let this happen to you. Life is too precious for such errors. There, my friends, that's the story, a true tale from our own soil. It reminds us of human frailty, the power of truth, and the mercy we must seek from above. May Allah protect us all. Now, if you'll excuse me, this old man needs to rest his weary voice. But remember, stories like this aren't just told, they're felt, deep in the heart.